Well, she seems nice.
Forsake our friends and you wanted to be safe from the government, so you became a stupid government.
Welcome to the third devlog for my FPS game, which finally has a name. I would have called it Time is of the Essence, but then its abbreviation wouldn't be. Time is the Essence is a game driven by time. It is the currency, it is the objective, it is your ally, and it is most definitely your greatest enemy. Because games are supposed to be stressful, not fun. I started the month of April by deciding on a game loop that would help bring my ideas to life. The game loop would largely be objective driven. The player completes a variety of objectives which leads them to the final objective of each level, a boss battle. It sounds simple enough, but it's not. And here's why. If you're an indie developer, then you know we have this really annoying trait that makes it incredibly difficult to finish projects. But it's probably also the reason we're indie developers. We spend a lot of our time thinking, wow, wouldn't it be cool if... Take these objective types, for example. Wouldn't it be cool if we had a target shooting objective? Wouldn't it be cool if we had an enemy killing objective, or a parkour objective, or a puzzle objective? Heck, wouldn't it be so cool if we just canned this project halfway and started a brand new one instead? I didn't. Instead, I found a way to manage my future self's overactive creativity membrane and spent a week writing an objective management system to manage the different types of objectives I want to create in the game. With this in place, I started thinking of a good way for the player to start objectives. Initially, I thought it might be a good idea for the player to walk into an area and have the objective start as they enter it. But this kind of felt unnatural and it sort of catches you off guard, like surprise, and you're in an objective. So then I thought it might be cool to have an object in the world that you point at, and when you're looking at it, it displays the details of the objective. And then when you want to start the objective, you shoot it. I shared this idea on Reddit and people seem to really like it, so I kept it, except I got rid of this beautiful cube and instead made this totem looking thingy. I added VFX, and with that my objective system was complete. So far I've created 3 different objective types. The first is the target shooting objective, the second is the enemy killing objective, and the third is the boss objective. What do you think makes a good boss battle? I came up with a list of 5 criteria whilst watching a buddy of mine play Elden Ring. The first thing on the list of criteria is that the boss needs to look badass. I hopped into the asset store and came across this character pack with some evil looking characters in it. I liked the look of this winged one. Her name was Succubus, so we'll stick to her for now. Second on the list of criteria is that the boss needs to have a badass introduction. I got started with a spawn animation, and I'm not yet the greatest animator, so it took me like a full day to complete this. But I figured it would be cool if the boss came spinning up from under the ground before landing in a Deadpool-esque superhero pose. I think the animation's a winner, but it looks kinda weird that she just pops up from under the ground. I added some VFX, which included a portal and lightning, an aura, and a shockwave. Finally, I added some screen shake to the player camera as she lands to give a real feeling of weight and impact. Third on the list of criteria is that the boss needs to have mad amounts of HP. I pumped hers up to 2000 and we were good to go. Next, the boss needs to have at least 5 badass abilities. The first ability I came up with is a dash ability, which just lets the boss close the distance between herself and the player really quickly. Directly after the dash attack, she'll perform a combo punching attack aimed directly at the player's face. The third attack lets her spawn 2 little minions. One does melee damage and the other casts spells from range. The fourth is a magic spell, where she casts 10 electricity balls in quick succession. And the final is a swoosh attack, which also took me freaking ages to animate. Enjoy this footage of me doing yoga-like poses to help conceptualize the animation. Nonetheless, Succubus will fly up into the air before lunging directly at the player. If she connects, she'll deal huge amounts of damage and knock the player right back. The fifth and final criteria was that the boss should be super freaking annoying, which she is, thanks to her AI. I created her AI using Behavior Designer. Now AI is pretty much just if statements and for loops, and Behavior Designer just gives me a really easy way to create and debug my if statements and for loops. Her behavior is pretty straightforward though. She spawns into the world before making one of 6 decisions. Either she does one of the 5 attacks, but if none of those work out, then she'll casually seek out the player for a few seconds before re-evaluating her behavior tree. It felt a bit unfair at this point because the boss can do all of this really cool stuff, but all you can do as the player is just shoot your puny weapons at her. I did start work on a dash ability a while ago, and I completed it now, and I started work on a ground slam ability where the player jumps into the air before smashing the ground. I haven't finished the damage this will cause just yet because I really needed to get this video out. I do have a bunch of abilities in mind that I still want to do, and I'll get cracking on them as soon as I'm done releasing this video. But until then, I'll catch you on the next one.